Hello, you. On today's Q&A, we're going to be answering your questions about how to exchange your driving license for a Spanish one, especially if you're a UK license holder, because it's now possible. Hooray! We'll talk about what the experience is like for people who've had their appointments too, because as usual, different officials are interpreting things a little bit differently in different areas. That's nothing new. And after that, we'll update you on the new digital Nomad Visa for Spain. I'll be joined shortly on the virtual settee around the virtual pool by our very good friend Richelle DeWitt of Ask Richelle Andalucia, who's been helping lots of people to get their licenses swapped over the past week. So stick around, ask questions, give us a wave, hit the like button, and get yourself a mention in the live chat or in the comments below. So gather round. It's time for our small but perfectly formed cosmic theme tune. Let's dance. Well, wasn't that groovy? Before I bring in Richelle, I've got a delightful suggestion for you. When we've answered your questions today, why not check out our website, YouTooSpain.com, where you can find tons of information, blog articles and resources that you need for your move to Spain and for living here. There's also a free newsletter every month that comes out at the very start. So if you sign up now, you'll get the April one. All of the expert help you get here is free. So if you appreciate the value of the information and the entertainment that you get from YouTube Spain, you can make a donation via buymeacoffee.com. There's a little donate QR code up there if you want to put your phone over it. If you're on the phone, I don't know how you do it if you're on the phone at the same time, but anyway, you can find a way of doing it. Not only that, you can get discounts on some of the vital services that you need. They're all tried and tested friendly companies that support YouTube Spain every time you use the links, and it doesn't cost you a penny. They're all down below in the video description. Along here where it says the name of the video, then it says read more at the end and then 3 dots. Click on the read more and then you'll come up with all this information. Here's one example that's down there. You can get a free account with Smart Currency Exchange, where you can speak to my favorite advisors for free to help you make the most of your money so that you're not at the whim of the exchange rates, which go up and down all the time. It's a win-win, win-win, win-win-win with a cherry on top. So without further ado, let's meet our guest for today. It's Richelle DeWitt from Ask Richelle Andalucia. Good morning, Richelle.
Good morning, Skatz. How are you?
How are you? I'm very well, thank you. And welcome back. It's lovely to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
And we'll get straight on with it. Actually, briefly tell us what you do, first of all, for those watchers who've not seen you on the show before.
Oh, all right. I'm a registered paralegal and I've got an online consultancy specialized in residency and visas. But I also deal with driving licenses, healthcare, padron registrations, getting a TIE, whatever. Lots of administrative stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And you keep a close eye on the BOE. I keep forgetting to mention this to people. What's the BOE?
It's the BOE. BOE is the state bulletin in Spain. So every new regulation, law, speed law, anything will be published in there. And only once it's published in there, it's valid as law, and then it will come into force, usually the day after its publication, or at a later date if the administration still has to prepare some stuff and they got a certain window to do that in.
Mm-hmm. Just like with the digital Nomad Visa, which we'll come on to later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to shout out to any of your clients that you've been helping? You've put loads through every day, haven't you, onto the driving license?
Oh, onto the driving license. No, just thanks for the clients who've already been, that they're sharing their experience and allow me to post them on my page so that other people can benefit from them. I feel like sharing is caring in this case because there's so many uncertainties and people are scared and not knowing what to expect. So every little tidbit is worthwhile.
Yeah, I've found that the more you share for free, the more you get people talking to you about it, and you're helping lots and lots of people there, and you get clients from it as well. You know,
definitely. Word spreads.
There we go. Let's just have a quick look on the live chat and say hello to Anthony and Kerry, aka Mitchell. Hola de Francia. They're going to be moving maybe later this year, is it? Or is it still looking at next year? Good morning to Mad David and also Paul Jarvis Beasley, a long-time fan. It's the first time joining live. Well, good to have you on board. And Jason from Jason's Web, good morning to you. I'll say good morning to anybody else that comes up as it goes along. So we're going to start with the UK driving license swap. And now that UK citizens can now exchange the license, what do they have to do? Take us briefly through the process of applying and exchanging, including your own experiences of people.
Well, first of all, I want to go back to that thing that we just mentioned, the BOE, the state bulletin, that everything has to publish in there. That's not the case with the driving license agreement. And that's because this has only been agreed on in verbal notes. So there is no written law. It has not been transposed into Spanish traffic law yet. Trafico is doing us a huge favor, of us. I'm not British, but it's doing all the UK driving license holders a huge favor by allowing them provisionally to already make use of what's in the agreement, even if it's only verbal, and allow them the new grace period started on the 16th of March. So you have 6 more months to drive on your UK license, provided it's not expired. Big exclamation marks, and allow you to exchange it, provided it was issued before the 16th of March.
Excellent.
That's basically what we can agree on. In the beginning, it was a bit like would irregularly renew driving licenses, meaning that you renewed them or changed your address on them or whatever thing that made them issue you a new one after the date that you registered as a resident, or the start date of your residency under the withdrawal agreement, or even earlier, because loads of people never bothered to exchange their driving license when they still could. But basically, that's a big favor that Trafico is doing everybody.
Okay, so what's the process then?
The process is what you need is an appointment. Lots of people in the beginning said, "Oh, but I'm over 65, so I don't need an appointment. It says so on the website." Yeah, but in the small print, it says that for canjes, and that's the Spanish word for the exchanges, you do need an appointment. You need to prepare. You need to get a medical done. And that's not just because you're exchanging now. You have to do that every single time that you get a new Spanish driving license. It's not related to age. Everybody has to do it. So it's not as of a certain age. There is no magic date of 70 in Spain either. So you just continue. Although I found that when you're under 65, they tend to work towards a renewal around your 65th birthday. Strange, but that's how it usually works. So you need a medical done, get a certificate. If you've got any of the categories C and D on your license, make sure to tell the medical center, because then the medical has to be slightly more elaborate. Yeah, but if you don't worry about those because you just got them as grandfather rights on your UK license, and you're only using A and B, then don't worry, you just get a B on your certificate, and that will do for those 2 categories. They don't mention it that you need to get a padrón, but I advise my clients to do, because it's so shitty if you're there, they ask for it and you have to go back again. So bring a recent padrón, not older than 3 months. You can put on any address, but it has to be an address where you receive ordinary mail because that's how your PIN card is going to be delivered. The ordinary mail. They don't accept post boxes. Of course, now people will say, well, they accepted mine. Yeah, sometimes you got an officer there and said, oh, yeah, I don't mind. If you receive mail there, okay. But the rule has been no post boxes. So that doesn't mean that if you're in the Campo and you've got a street address plus a buzón for the area where you are, that you can't put that up. You can put that up. But a P.O. box at the post office, they usually don't accept that. So use a friend's, or ask Trafico to keep it for you there and you pick it up. But that, of course, will mean an extra trip once it's there. You need to bring your TIE and a copy, your old driving license and a copy. And I advise you to keep a copy for yourself as well, just in case anything goes wrong with the categories and you need proof of what you had. And you need to bring a card so that you can pay the fee on the spot. You'll need a form, of course, filled out with all your data. And you'll need, what's the other thing? Oh, yes, you need, and not just one day before you go, but any time before your appointment is, as long as it's not longer than 21 days before you actually go to Trafico. You have to go online with your national insurance number on the DVLA website and get an access code, because it's the same thing as when you would go abroad and go to the UK and hire a car for a rental car company. The same process, that you have to give them a code so that they can access your most up-to-date entitlement and see whether there's not anything against you on your license. It hasn't been withdrawn or whatever. So that's what Trafico needs as well, because they were going to access that on the spot and process your exchange on the spot, basically. Used to be very different, and they would have to send a fax to the DVLA, get it back, and it would be so very time consuming. This is very, very, very efficient. Unless, there's one unless, as we found out this week. One of my clients, his driving license expired, and he's just over 70. And that means, because in the UK, 70 is the magic age when your driving license entitlement expires, that they can't bring anything up, and they put in the code on the DVLA system. So everybody's working on it. The head office of the DGT has been advised. They've been supposed to contact the DVLA and the British government, I don't know what. And the client itself, he's like a terrier, so he's not giving up. And he's contacting the office that deals with the automatization of the entire process to see what they can come up with, because it just has to show. At Trafico, they said, well, we have an agreement with the DVLA. Even if they're expired, they have to show. So, because for them, the 70 doesn't mean anything. So that's just an initial bug. And I think very few people will be in those circumstances. But
is that the same with all expired licenses? They're
no,
having trouble with the DVLA. I've heard that's
the 70. Other expired licenses will show fine. All the data will show fine, because the entitlement is still alive. Until you reach your 70th birthday. Yeah.
There's a quick question on the, oh, no, not that one. That one came up wrong. Let's get that one up. From Karen, license needs a name change in the UK before I can exchange. Will I still be able to swap once it's done in the UK?
I assume that's because she got married or something and wants to correspond the license with the data on her passport. I would not do that in the UK.
No.
Definitely not. Do that in Spain. Explain, bring a letter that explains why you have in the UK, you have the right to change your name to that of your husband or whatever one. And they will keep the data that are on your TIE and on your passport. They will check those, even if your previous license from the UK has a different name. But you have to bring proof of your name change. So don't do that in the UK, because it will have an issue date after the 16th of March. And then you can't exchange it in Spain anymore.
Yeah, we'll come to that question again in a moment, I think. This was going to be my next question anyway. No, actually, we'll come back to that one, because my next question is, can you go for the medical test? Can you get that done anywhere? Where do you go for that?
Yeah, you can do your medical test anywhere. You can go to any Trafico office you like. Anywhere in Spain.
And they also have mobile vans, like they have those in our area. And
they have mobile vans, but you will have to make sure that the date that they're going to be in your village corresponds or is convenient with regards to the date of your Trafico appointment. Yes.
Do you suggest that people get their medical appointment first before they make the appointment?
In some areas, well, Malaga, for example, Malaga, Granada, Cordoba, they give you a range of dates to choose from when you go online. But some of them, like Murcia, they just give one single date, and like tomorrow or the day after. So by now, I haven't seen any offices moving on really quickly in time. So I think it's safe to say now that you can get your medical and then go online and book your appointment, because then you're ready and prepared to take advantage of a really short-term one that comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. The van comes around every 2 weeks in our area anyway.
In ours only once a month, so.
Is it? Okay. Well, how easy is it to get the license appointment?
How easy? Not very easy. Well, the process is not very difficult, but the website keeps crashing. So it only allows you, at least that's in my case, to make one, and then I have to wait like for at least half an hour before I can do another one. And yesterday, every office I tried just came up, we're really busy right now. Try again in a couple of minutes. The entire day. So maybe they were doing some adjustments or whatever, and they have this CAPTCHA safety check thing that you're not a robot.
Yeah.
And that changes all the time. Sometimes I have to fill it out 5 times before it gets through. And I'm not stupid, so I know what a bicycle looks like. But still, well, it's no use getting mad about it. I mean, it's just or frustrated. You just have to try and get on with it. So, yeah, there's only so many I can do every day. But I worked through basically the entire list that I had. So I'm happy.
Good.
And just have to do loads and loads of forms because that comes afterwards, of course.
Of course. Let's have a look at the live chat. There's lots of questions coming through. We'll come to Ian Skinner's question later when we're doing the digital nomad visa. So I'm not ignoring you, Ian. Maybe you can ask it again later when we get there, in case we forget. That Karen, we've answered that one. Paul says, is there a list of Trafico offices where we can go to? We are in Majorca. So that, I suppose, is the same question that I asked you about the medical thing. Can you go to any Trafico office?
Any office? But if you want to know where the nearest one to you is, then you just go online on the website where you make the appointment, and then an entire drop-down menu will come down with all the offices. And there is one on Mallorca. So, and they do have appointments because I made one the other day.
Brilliant. That's good to know. Somebody said on one of the social media channels, I think it was on Facebook, saying the official in charge was unhappy that we had attended a DGT from outside its catchment area. They should have gone to Almeria, but they went into Murcia. So they're not entirely happy about that if you go outside, but you are allowed to go anywhere.
You're allowed to go anywhere. Yes.
There you go. Good stuff. This is an interesting question from Jason. Will the list of forms required likely change in the next 10 years? I'm not really relocating until then. So should I save this video for the forms needed? Well, save it if you want. There's no guarantee that
it's not likely
going to change.
No.
Yeah. But no doubt that when the channel is still going in 10 years, which I'm
it's
fairly sure it will be.
Yeah, and it's the same form that's been used for driving license exchanges from all the other countries that have bilateral agreements with Spain, so it's not going to change anytime soon.
And I tend to update videos once a year if you know if they've gone out of date.
Yeah, of course you will.
Yeah, because and also people don't want to watch videos that are more than a year old or 2 years old because they might be out of date if they bother to look that far down at the how long the video has been out.
Okay.
So here we go with a question from El Davido. Moved here 13 months ago, and I'm pretty sure my license is registered to my previous UK address. Will I need to update this before I can apply? No.
No. I tell people because I get lots of driving licenses, and people in the beginning when we weren't just weren't sure that they were going to be picky about all those irregularly renewed licenses. I told people because I asked them why. In God's name, did they update their license or renew it in the UK while already a resident in Spain? And said, well, some of them said, well, we had to because it expired and then it renews automatically. No, nothing happens automatically. You have to apply for it. And then another one said, well, I moved address in the UK, so that's why I changed it. I said, lovelies, you emigrated to Spain. So there's nothing to do or no obligation whatsoever towards the DVLA anymore. Only to Spain. And you have to make sure that you don't fall foul of the rules that are valid in Spain. So luckily, and I'm so happy for all those who just renewed unaware of the fact that they couldn't do that, or they just wanted to be able to continue to drive while they still could until at the end of April with a valid license, and that Trafico is not being difficult about those.
There we go. Ian's asking, what is the reason for exchanging driving licenses? Who is this for?
Okay, well, this is for residents in Spain who want to drive longer on their about to be able to drive in Spain look for longer than the 6 months window that you're allowed to as of the date that you enter on your visa. Talking about new residents, basically.
There we go. And Paul Jarvis Beasley, I'll get to that one quickly. Could you post the link to the appointment website if possible? Yes, it's already down there in the video description below. I've already put the link down there, including links to lots of very helpful things. So you can find that after the show is finished. Karen is saying, this is an ouchie. I'm 73 and had to renew my license in December as I'm going to my daughter's wedding next week. Will I still be able to exchange?
If the license was also issued in December, so before the 16th of March of this year, then yeah, you will still be able to exchange.
Okay, that is good. Jason says, it depends. That's our catchphrase here. Everything depends. It's always one of those. Karen says, my name needs changing and my photo license has expired, so I cannot find myself on the DVLA. So, yeah, so how do they get their code if they can't find themselves?
That's then possibly because their NI number is linked to their actual new name. I don't know. Maybe they should contact the DVLA in person and get an entitlement certificate from them or something and explain. Yeah, if you can't find yourself on the DVLA, then Trafico can't find you either.
That's an odd one. That's definitely something where you need to contact the DVLA.
Yeah, contact the DVLA directly and ask them how to solve that. Maybe they can issue you a certificate of entitlement. But yeah, that must be because the national insurance number is now no longer related to her the name on her license.
Okay.
Yeah, contact the DVLA directly. That's not something we can solve from behind our laptops.
There we go. Paul says, I'm getting the hang of this. Thank goodness. We've helped at least one person then.
Okay.
So let's go back to the questions. I think I've just asked that one. Do you need to apply in the nearest DGT office? That's no. How long does everyone have to get their new license?
Well, there's the window that you can drive on your old license, if it's not expired, for 6 months, so until the 16th of September. But you can exchange it between now and forever, basically, but only after the 16th of September. You can't use your old license in Spain to drive anymore. So basically, the handiest thing to do is to exchange it within those 6 months. Because then you have your provisional Spanish license and then you can move around freely again. You'll be legal again.
And what happens if new people are arriving now? What do?
They have 6 months. If they arrive on a visa, they have 6 months to drive and 6 months within those 6 months to exchange it. They're the lucky ones.
Yes.
So they need to get registered on the Padron, get their TIE with TIE in hand, go to Trafico.
Excellent. A lot of people, I've seen this question an awful lot. They're saying, I can't find the UK in the pull down box of countries. They're on the wrong bit, aren't they? What's the solution?
They're on the wrong bit. If you look for the page, and I'm sure you posted it below the video, there's a special page for the exchanges or the canje of UK driving licenses. And it says specifically that you have to choose the procedure. So you choose an office, and then you say trámite oficinas. That's like an office procedure. So not the canje or the renovación, the first one. Trámite is the oficina. They're doing us a huge favor because they opened this trámite that's not open for anybody else with driving license from any other non-EU country. And they make lots of appointments available in most areas, at least most areas where there's lots of expats, basically.
Yes.
So that's the one you choose, and then you won't get a pop-up asking you to choose a country anymore.
There you go. And what it looks like on the screen, there's just two long boxes.
Two tiny boxes, yeah.
On the left-hand one, it says, where do you want to go to, which office?
And which procedure do you want?
Which
and
procedure?
The first one. Yeah.
Yeah. And if some people are, I've put up, it's Tramite de Oficina, and they're going, no, I can't see that. It's because you've got it translated into English. It'll say office procedures. If Google's doing its job properly, which sometimes it depends. There you go.
Yeah.
Here we go. So can you drive now on your UK license? This depends on
on
when you
whether
got
it's
it.
still valid. If
Yeah.
it's not expired, then yes.
There you go. So what if it's expired? What do? You just apply and wait to get your
Exchange as
Spanish
soon as
license?
possible. Yeah, get your appointment, and with your provisional Spanish one, you can drive again in Spain.
What can you do? This is about expired licenses. What can you do if you've renewed your UK license, that which is obviously actually illegal? I don't know. I'm saying obviously. A lot of people have gone, yes, but I've exchanged my license because it's run out or something, or after
We
you've
call it
become
an
a Spanish
irregular
resident.
renewal. An irregular renewal. It is illegal, but irregular doesn't sound as harsh. If you renewed it, as long as the issue date is before the 16th of March, then from the experiences of last week from members who went, or clients who went and successfully exchanged, we're now saying that yes, generally they will do that.
Brilliant. And Karen Clark is actually just asked the question there. So yes, as long as it's before, it's actually March the 16th, we said, isn't it? This does apply to you, yes, so you can.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, no worries at all. Although in some offices, it's being questioned, I think.
Yeah, well, you have to stand your ground and say that lots of other people have and just say that it's in the notes. They won't know because they're verbal notes.
There you go.
The ambassador said since October last year that these licenses would be eligible for the exchange. Now I think that now the latest that he's been saying is, well, it's all provisional. It's all provisional. So he's backtracking a bit, but I mean, I've got loads of successful experiences. So,
and
the thing is, if you are refused, and if at all possible, go to another office where people have had successful experiences and just try again. Don't give up.
Yeah, or ask Richelle Andalucia. There you go.
Yeah, right.
Richelle will sort you out.
But I'm not coming with you or anything, so no.
No, but you could be on the end of a phone, maybe, to someone.
Yeah.
There you go. Definitely worth hiring Richelle if you want to get it done properly, I would say. There you go. You get the best advice. Are you guaranteed to get the same vehicle classification on your Spanish visa? So any tips about that?
Okay, well, that was a big question mark in the beginning as well, because other bilateral agreements, they will guarantee A and B transfer directly, and they would have additional conditions for C and D. Well, in our experience at the moment is that all the C1 and D1 thingies, the grandfather rights categories, they are transposed as long as you have the appropriate medical for them. So that's why I stressed in the beginning that you have to tell the center where you're going to have it done that those are categories that you want to keep. For most people, they don't ever use them, so you can renounce them. So you just keep A and B. You can check at Trafico. You'll be presented with a talon photo form. That's like an A5 form that they will stick your picture on, your photo on, and at the bottom of that it will say the categories that they're going to put on your new Spanish license. So check on there if they put it right, and if not, just ask them to correct on the spot. But if you've got a full C or a full D license that you actually did exams for, then you would have to stress that even more and make sure. They guarantee that all the categories would be transposed, but you have to be really on the ball to check whether they're actually doing it.
Great. So those are the categories on the screen. I think you can get that. I'm not sure where I got that from, but I think that's available online in a few different places. There you go. And or just copy it from your screen there. You can go back to that and watch the video about it.
Yeah.
Karen says, I will hire Raquel. It's Richelle. I think you're also correct as put Raquel.
I respond to everything. Rachel, Raquel, it doesn't matter.
So John is asking, just in passing, Karen said she renewed her driving license after moving to Spain. Bit late now, but you can only renew, change address, etc. if you're a resident in the UK.
Yes, we all know that, but lots of people still have a property in the UK, and that's why they think that they can, or that they should, if they even move address in the UK. But you're very right, John. You've emigrated, so you're now responsible to Spanish traffic law and not UK traffic law anymore.
And what would have happened if you'd been stopped by Trafico over here, if you'd got an out-of-date license, an expired license?
An expired license, then you get a huge fine, because then you're driving illegally. That's not something I recommend. No.
That's why people are panicking and
that's
going,
why people do it. Yeah. All very understandable.
There you go. Will Spain swap over any penalty points? There's a different penalty point system here, isn't there?
I actually have no experience with that, whether they actually put those points on the Spanish license.
I'll find out. I'll report back on that, because I've got 3 points on my Irish. That's on my Irish license, not on my UK, but it's the same process. I'll report back when I get
that's
that.
Good to know. Yeah.
And of course it's a different system here. You start
the other way around.
12 and it goes down. So hopefully they won't give me 3 points.
You get bonus points as well. Oh, you just be good and you get bonus points.
Yeah, I've been extra good. Unfortunately, it's all linked. We've only got one car, so it came through on my license when. But I didn't get any points when Liz did some speeding. It's just a fine over here unless you go more than 10.
And more than a certain limit, yeah. And then you have to identify the driver, so they would still be justly registered against the correct name.
I'll have to throw her under the bus if that happens.
Yeah. Also, it might be good to know if you had like a huge traffic offence that will drop your points tremendously, you can do a little course to gain more points.
Oh.
That's also used by professional drivers who just can't. Taxis, for example, they just can't avoid the speed sometimes, and they get loads of fines, and sometimes they also with the effect of points taken off their license, and then you can do a course and regain a couple of points.
There's one particular camera on the way down the coast to Malaga, heading west. Which is it's not one of those cameras that's over the top which says speed cameras, and everybody slows down for that. It's just a little grey box with DGT on it at the side of the road.
Yeah, they're sneaky.
Yeah, so many people get caught on that. But you can tell when it's coming up because most people slow down.
Most people know, and they will slow down.
So, any other tips before we move on to digital nomad visa?
No, it's basically to just have all your paperwork in order, bring a copy of everything, and just be nice, be friendly. That works always best with public servants.
Yeah, let's just have a look at some of the things that people were saying on social media. This is particular about Murcia. And a few tips. Don't arrive earlier than 20 minutes before the appointment. The system won't recognize you. That's
the same for all the traffic offices, because when you enter the traffic office, you must bring proof of your appointment, because there will be a security guard there. And sometimes they have a list, very old fashioned. And sometimes they just want to see proof of you having an appointment. Then you go in, there's a machine, like a white pillar thingy. And then you put in your NIE number, just the numbers, not the letter. And then it will recognize you from the appointments in the computer, and it will print out a little, an appointment number. And then you go to the waiting room and check whether the appointment number comes up on the screens, and then it will say which desk you have to go to. But indeed, that recognition system only works in the window of 20 minutes before your appointment. So it's no use arriving an hour before, no earlier than 20 minutes before your actual appointment time.
There you go. So the next note actually from Murcia says, you just input the NIE numbers, not the letters on either side. The kind security guard put them right on that one. And it says in Murcia, go to the second floor waiting area, not the first floor. Both have monitors displaying appointment numbers. That's handy.
But the guard will tell you where to go.
Yeah.
So I think in Granada, it's the top floor as well, for example.
That's good exercise for everyone. It's number 4 here. It's essential to have all the paperwork. I saw people turned away as they didn't have the DLA code and the printout of the DVLA code.
Yeah. So some people say, can I just bring my phone and show it? I said, no, just do them a favor. And they want to have it in front of them so that they can recheck the number. Just print it out.
Yeah. as we always say on this show, belt and braces, do everything, and have 3 printouts of everything.
And the
just in
kitchen
case.
sink.
And the kitchen sink. Some people have renewed their UK license since 2021, but this wasn't a problem. There you go, Murcia, knowing they seem to know what
Malaga,
they're doing.
Granada, all doing well.
And Elche, which I believe is up in the mountains in Murcia region.
No, Elche's Alicante area, I think.
Oh, is it? Yes. Oh, it's they're kind of inland from both. I think it's. They're saying it was very easy, quick, no issues at all. In fact, I was expecting problems as my UK permit had expired in October 22, but it was still exchangeable. They didn't really seem to be bothered. Got my.
I heard from other people talking about really favourably talking about Elche. They're really kind there. Contrary to, I'm sorry to say, Almeria. People are just frightened to go to Almeria. So if you don't have to, go to Murcia or make a day of it and go to Granada.
Yeah,
Granada is marvelous as well.
Drive up to Elche. That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd never been there, but I'm presuming it's up in the Sierras somewhere. So there we go. They're saying they got my 3-month paper permission and expect my license to be delivered in 2 months to my PO box number. Oh, they've accepted a PO box number.
I know. I had 2 people going to Valencia, a couple. One of them, they said, no, you're very right to have a different address than your PO box. And the other one, they said, yeah, PO box, no worries. So it's unpredictable. But if they refuse, be prepared to have another address handy.
I asked at my medical appointment in the van, and I gave them both addresses and said, this is my dirección postal. And he went, okay, we'll use that one. So they're all right. My Hestor is saying, no, you must give your proper address. And if it's whatever is registered with Trafico. And I said, but I've already changed that using my digital certificate online. So they should know where to send it. Although I don't trust their systems entirely, because they do keep crashing. There you go. So, and one final one saying, make sure the background on the photo you provide is white. It's very interesting. Theirs was just slightly off white, and they said no, they rejected it, and they had to go around the corner to a photo booth and do it again, which sounds a bit picky to me.
I have like a huge A4 page full of instructions for all my clients. Once they've got their appointment, they get everything, and all those about how to put in your numbers in the machine, everything.
Excellent.
So as a reminder, and the instructions from the Trafico website translated into English.
Perfect. There's always a photo booth just around the corner from Trafico and from the police stations where you get your.
There is a photo booth. There's a photo booth near the police stations. Not really in my area. There's none.
No. Okay.
No. But there's also all medical offices in medical centers near Trafico. Always. So if you need something extra done, then you're going to get that. Go there as well.
Yeah, I know in Malaga and Vélez Malaga, there's definitely one just over the road there. You need to ensure. Oh, this one's interesting. The information on their medical certificate about driving glasses, whether you need glasses, was different on their DVLA record from what happened in the medical van. Maybe they've had cataracts and they've got better, or it's the opposite way around. Theirs was rejected because it said different on the medical certificate that it said on the DVLA. Well, maybe that's something you need to do. When you're having your medical.
My recommendation is something. If something has changed since your previous license was issued, then just get some accreditation of that. I mean, if you had a cataract operation, get your doctor to write you a little certificate. If you suddenly had to if you think that if your blood pressure is high, get something from your doctor to acknowledge that he's written you a prescription and it's all under control.
There you go. Anthony from AK Mitchell there saying, where can you speed around Competa?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. Well, only on the motorway, really. I've seen people driving fast in Competa, but I don't think you can get up to more than 50 on those streets.
No.
You'd be very dangerous. I can't get above 20 on most of them. So that's about it, I think.
No, there's just one more thingy, because I heard that there's lots of discussions going on the citizens' advice about me giving the advice to clients that they can drive with their provisional license issued by the Spanish Trafico if it's accompanied by an international driving permit, also issued by Trafico. That's not something that I invented. It's actually on the Trafico website, even on the same page as all the information for the UK driving license holders. It says under the questions, Q&A, can I drive with this provisional license abroad? No, you can't. Then it needs to be accompanied by an international driving permit that you can also order at the same time, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I do. If then people say, no, that's not true, I assume that Trafico knows what they're talking about. I know, and it says so on the little form, that it's only valid in Spain, as is. But accompanied by the international driving permit, it should be valid to drive abroad. But, another but, if you need it to rent a car, I would consult with the rental company first.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, that's the best way. I just want to show on the screen what the form looks like, the application form for the driving license. That is actually one that's been filled in with the English version of telling you what to put in each box. So it's fairly easy to fill in. It's just your
it's just that
basic details.
The fields where you're supposed to fill in the categories, if you have any grandfather rights, they won't fit.
Mm-hmm.
If they, I see Karen Clark is already messaging me.
Aha,
it just
excellent.
popped up on my screen. The categories and the license number won't fit either. So what I do is I put the categories in the big box where you can put remarks.
In here?
Yeah, in there. I put all the categories in there, and I just repeat license categories. What it says just slightly above that. I just repeat that, and I put the categories there, and then I put the license number in the two boxes. Those two boxes, yes, and the one to the right.
Yeah.
And just skip them or split them in two because it won't allow more numbers than a certain amount, and you need to split it in two. And then I just make a couple of spaces and then put Reino Unido at the end of that second large box. Yeah, there.
Yeah. And don't tick these tick boxes.
No,
No,
don't tick the boxes, because the boxes say I oppose to Trafico checking my data in the Padron database and the National Police database with regards to my residency. And you don't oppose because you just want them to do that, so that avoids having you to bring all that other paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. There we go. That's covered the form. John's still talking about yes, it's a criminal offence to renew a driving license.
That, John.
We do know it's a criminal offence, but some people think they've had to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. And people are getting through with those kind of licenses. It seems from your experience that's what's happening.
Yep.
There we go.
Yes, and I'm in almost daily contact, well, not almost, daily contact with Anna Hernandez from the Brexpats to exchange experiences, and it's her experience as well. And she called Trafico, and they even confirmed that they are going to acknowledge those irregularly renewed driving licenses.
Mm-hmm. Right then, let's move on to the digital nomad visa.
Oh yes,
we did have that question earlier, which I'll see if I can find. Hopefully they're still on board with us. Everybody seems to be asking about the driving license at the moment, but we'll cover the digital nomad visa. This is basically an update. Is it actually possible to apply now? That's the main thing, because they did say we're not going to publish the rules until the end of March.
Yes, though they published lots of information, and the UGE, the Unidad de Grandes Empresas, that's like a special immigration office dealing with the law for international, amongst others, international nomads, but also the golden visa and the startup law for innovative new companies, etc. All those applications that fall under the Unidad de Grandes Empresas, UGE. In short, they process applications. They have published their list of documents that you need to present, and of course, with every application submitted and experiences shared, we'll know more of what exactly will meet their requisites. But as with all other residency applications, if there's something lacking, they will let you know, and you will get a requerido letter, and then you will have 10 working days to submit them in the correct form or way that they want them, or whatever is missing. What they have not published is details about social security aspect and the tax aspect. The tax office is still dragging their feet. They have not published anything. The main thing that people want to know is whether they're going to be eligible for Beckham law. Beckham law is a special tax incentive offered for digital nomads. That term is really weird, but we'll stick to it because everybody knows it under that term. Everybody wants to know whether it's how they're going to apply, if it's actually valid for autonomous or self-employed workers who want to be working remotely from Spain. All it says on their website is that there are going to be new categories as a result of the change in the law, where the digital nomads are included in, and the new startups, but they're going to be publishing it later on. And in the BOE, it said that they have a deadline of the 31st of March. But whether they're going to actually meet that deadline, we do not know. I called them and asked. I called the big office in Malaga, and I was transferred to an outsourced tax office or advisors that they outsource specific information to, or questions about specific information. And they told me that, yes, self-employed digital nomads would be eligible, but they did not have any other further instructions yet. But other tax advisors and stuff, they have done their research, and they say, no, we think that's only for digital nomads working in the field of innovative industries, whatever, more in the line of the startups. I don't know. I read it as professionals, and professionals are autonomous in my interpretation, but we'll have to wait and see. So everybody who is depending on that being a prerequisite, having that 100% sure, because before they want to commit to applying for the visa, should wait.
Yeah, there you go.
Basically.
So that was Ian Skinner's question from a lot earlier on in the show.
Yes,
so
but
we don't know yet.
No, the 15%, I can tell you that's not for digital nomads. That's for the startup companies, and it's not for 4 years. It's for the year you apply plus 5 years more. So, but the fixed rate is 24%.
Yeah,
Beckham law.
There you go. Okay, no more questions about that so far. So let's go back to basics. Who can apply?
Who can apply? Okay, well, the term is digital nomads is completely invented by English press, basically. Ever since there was talk about Spain going to facilitate something for people working remotely to come and settle in Spain under special conditions. It is called Teletrabajadores Internacionales. So it says nothing about digital nomads, because digital nomad has a bit of a hippie kind of annotation, no? But,
yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah, that's why many people were attracted by it, actually, because they thought, oh my God, I can go in my camper van from France to Italy to Spain to Croatia and whatever, and just register there. And, well, maybe I have to pay some tax or something, but okay, what the hell? And, well, no. It's not like that. It's aimed at highly qualified professionals who earn a big load of money. You need to show more money than for a non-lucrative visa, especially if you're coming with family, because for example, for a non-lucrative visa at the moment, it's like and it's different norms. I mean, the non-lucrative visa is based on the IPREM unit, and the digital nomad visa is based on minimum salary, minimum wage in Spain. So the other one, the IPREM, is 400% for non-lucrative visa and 100 for an additional partner. For the digital nomad visa is 200% of the minimum wage and 75% for an additional partner, and 25% for every additional family member after that. So for the third, fourth, fifth, whatever. So that's a huge amount of money. that you have to show. And initially it was thought that you had to show that from income from your wages, from your remote work, your wages or your invoices to your clients. But I asked Uge, because I'm daily emailing with them, and sometimes I get really clear answers, and sometimes it's all very woolly, but there's always a tidbit of useful information in it. So I keep trying. And they said, no, the income can come from other sources as well. So if you have a rental income or a part pension, maybe even, and hopefully that's what we're going to try out, savings as well, especially if it's to accredit the income requisite for the non-working family members.
Mm-hmm.
That's all helping. So basically, who can apply? Employed people who have been or have not yet been working remotely, but their employer is all for it, and they want to collaborate and sign an additional statement to the work contract that they will allow you to work remotely from Spain. And also, and you have to have been working for that company for at least 3 months. The company must have been in existence for at least a year. And the same goes if you work self-employed. Then your clients, you must have been working for them for at least 3 months. So you must have clients that are businesses that you have contracts with that have been in existence for at least 3 months and are continued into the future, because they want to see that you're going to be working for those clients for many, many months after they granted you the permission to work here from Spain. And as self-employed, so you need to show all the contracts with your clients. So if you work, for example, if you are self-employed, but you work for yourself, you develop stuff, or you have a web page, and you sell stuff online, all those, no. If you are a psychologist and you do remote sessions with your clients and they're private individuals, no, sorry. But there are some exceptions, and we're learning every day. But as it appears now that people who have a limited company and they pay themselves wages, and not just pay themselves wages, but are actually employed by the LTD, and the LTD pays national insurance for them and their tax and whatsoever, then yes, it could be possible that they, in that form, as then they're having an employer-employee relationship, that would be possible. But also depending on how, if you are the sole owner, if there are other owners who could say, oh yes, it's fine if he goes to work remotely in Spain, stuff like that. It's very much more complicated than everybody thought in the beginning. There's another aspect, because self-employed, employed stuff, that's one thing. But if you're employed and your country where your employer is situated has an agreement about social security coordination with Spain, then you're obliged to provide a certificate that accredits that your employer will continue to pay into the system in their country with the authorities in Spain, so that it will exempt you to have to do the same in Spain. So basically, there are lots of countries with social security agreements. All the EU countries have one. That's one big one. And the UK is still included in that as of the withdrawal agreement, as per the withdrawal agreement. So the UK doesn't appear on any list because they're still like implied included in the EU list. But they are. And you have to get that certificate. The UK supplies them for both employed and self-employed. You can apply for the certificate yourself as an employed person, but the company must have been registered as a company that is regularly displacing workers to countries in the EU first. So you need the collaboration of your employer. As a self-employed, you can get a certificate from the UK as well, and you need it. We don't know yet how quickly they're going to issue those certificates, because of course, as you can only apply from Spain for this visa for the moment, you're limited to your 90 days, your Schengen days. So if you already did some recon, or you already spent some days earlier on in the year and you don't have all that many days left, please, please, please make sure that you've got all your stuff, all your documentation together, because you need a criminal records check as well, for example, and that can take an apostilled and translated. That can take some time. So bring all that before you come, if you only have a couple of days left to get it submitted.
Mhm.
And make sure that especially those certificate for the Social Security for for self-employed people, it's not too big of an issue. They can put in a declaration with their application that should they not get the certificate from the UK, then they will pledge that they will register as self-employed autonomo in Spain. But it's not the same for employed people. If they cannot get that certificate, then their employer will have to pay into the system in Spain for them, register here as a business with the Seguridad Social and pay in the system for them. That's something most companies do not want to do because it also implies a tax responsibility in Spain and stuff like that. Another issue is, for example, people from the US. There is an agreement, but the SSA in the US refuses to issue those certificates to digital nomads. They say, no, that's an abuse of the regulation that is in place for displaced workers. And you're not really a displaced worker. You decided this all on your own, and you just got your employer to sign off on it. That's basically true. I read an article about, it was from a year ago, and then there was somebody high up in the Seguridad Social in Spain was asked about digital nomads and how it was developing, and if they would collaborate with digital nomads if they applied for a certificate of Social Security coordination to go work somewhere else. And they said no, because that's not what it's meant for. And now, bloody, they're asking for it. But that's immigration, Social Security. There is no international regulation or law for internationally working, remotely working people. There isn't. So everybody is making it up as they go along. They're sort of abusing these Social Security agreements that are in place for something that is not originally meant for. And basically, it should be adapted. But that all takes time. And Spain is, well, it's asking for documents that some will get and some will not get. So in the US, people are addressed really, they are up in arms. They're all trying to get their working method changed so that they change from an employed status to a contractor status. But then they need to show that that relation has been in place for at least 3 months before they can apply for the visa. They're trying to find out all different loopholes. They're trying to settle or establish something in Spain so that they will get a displaced worker certificate. I don't know. It's difficult because if you meet the requisite for one thing, then it could be that you exclude yourself from the requisites for this visa, and they will say no. If your company has an address in Spain, a company in Spain, a subsidiary, then why not go for the highly qualified professional worker visa? And then that will go way out of your aims and doesn't help you.
There we go. There's a question from Hello Stockholm. For employees, would their employer, this is your employer abroad, be liable for things like corporate tax, local employment laws, considering the employer doesn't actually make any money in Spain?
Yeah, that's something that we do not know. The tax office has not published anything. I mean, you have to talk to an accountant who's really into both laws and the dual taxation agreement. And then another aspect of that is whether the employee would apply to be eligible for the Beckham law, because then basically they would be taxed as a non-resident, even if their status is as a resident. It's really, really complicated. I don't dare go into the field of the taxes, but I understand the company's concern, because I know from speaking with an accountant here that for Beckham law, you need to be registered with the Seguridad Social. And as an employee, you can't do that without your employer being registered as well. So what kind of implied obligations does that bring? I just don't know until they come up with something that's specifically suited for digital nomads. Everything is really, the tax and Social Security wise is tricky. Apart from people, those are the easy ones. The self-employed people from a country without a Social Security agreement in place can just come pledge that they're going to be autonomous here. All is good with the world. But they don't know yet whether they can apply for this 24% fixed tax for 5 years yet. Because
I'm confused as to why so many people have put in applications straight away. I don't know whether it's because lawyers are just saying that, yes, we can do it for you.
I'm going to put in the first one next week, and that's just because the client only has a couple of days of her 90 days left, and she said, why not give it a go? And I put in my conditions that if we fail because of some interpretation of the requisites that we just don't know yet, and we can how do you call it? We can remedy that and put it in again with just another paperwork. Do that for just the fee that they will ask to process the thingy. No extra fee from me. So that's why some people say, okay, let's have a go. At least we'll know what they want from us. And if we can comply, then we can do that within reasonable time.
There we go. Ian's saying at 24%, there's virtually no financial benefit for me to move to Spain when compared to tax position in the UK.
Well, I have seen the number of 40k as sort of the limit, the balance of it being beneficial to you or not. Income over 40k, they say, yeah, that's going to be beneficial.
There we go.
But then again, we do not know if you pay non-resident tax here, if you're even going to be able to make use of the dual taxation agreement, because that's talking about taxation as a resident in a country compared to your country of origin, where you might have tax liabilities as well. All not been explained.
There you go. It's just zip back.
All waiting for the tax office.
Just zipping back to the driving licenses. This is an interesting one that I was going to cover with a question. If you've got a paper license that's issued prior to the year 2000, I believe, they are still valid. And have you got any experience with using a paper license?
No, I've got 2 clients that I asked why the hell haven't you changed to a pink card yet. They still have the old ones, and I'm just going to put them through. I mean,
presumably,
it is what it is.
Presumably the information will still be on the DVLA site if it's
it
still
should
legal.
Be. Yeah. The information should still come up. Yeah, that hasn't changed. I mean, the categories are on there. It should all be fine as long as the information from the DVLA, when you put in your national insurance number, comes up fully. Then it should be okay.
Yeah. I think that should be fine. But I did say it on social media, I'd love to see the face of the officer on the desk when you give them the paper certificate. And if they've not seen one before.
I have to go, one the end of April and one mid-April, I think it is. Yeah.
There you go. We'll find out. We'll report back on that and see what happens.
Yeah, sure.
So back to you mentioned the ACRO is needed for digital nomad. There's also health cover. Do you need the same kind of health cover?
Well, that depends whether the Social Security Coordination Agreement includes healthcare as well or not. We assume that most do not, that it's separate. So that being a displaced worker doesn't automatically entitle you to healthcare.
Okay.
So my advice basically is to get private healthcare sorted, at least for the first year, and then God knows what becomes available, but to just do that for the first year. Unless you're going to be registered and you're sure that you're going to be paying as an autonomo into the Social Security system. Yeah. Because then, of course, you don't need it because it will be covered by your contributions every month.
So that's going to be possible to be autonomo on the digital nomad visa?
Yes, if you already were an autonomo for at least 3 months before you come to Spain to apply. Yeah, you can't just say, "Oh, okay, well then I'll just go the autonomo route while you're actually an employee." Yeah, because you need to be able. You need to submit all the contracts with your clients, so that cannot be your employment contract.
There you go. I've seen people asking on social media, can you swap to the digital nomad visa if you're on the non-lucrative visa?
Yeah, well, that's just a really grey area. I asked that in a live show from a webinar on a really big immigration law firm, because in their information at first they said, yeah, that should be possible, and then in the question I said, but how can that be possible if on a non-lucrative visa you're not allowed to work in any way, and then suddenly you have been working remotely or for a company abroad on the shy, and you're claiming that as an accreditation to be able to swap to a DMV. I don't buy it. And they said, well, we're willing to go a bit. Yeah, they said it's a grey area indeed, but we're willing to go to appeals and stuff to get this recognized for our clients. I thought, well, I'm not going to. So I'm sorry, but until the first cases have been put through, I'm not going to do them.
Yeah.
Because it's a very grey area indeed. What is correct is that you've been here, if you've been here on a student visa, for example, because they can, especially the student ones that had an authorization to work, even if not full time, was 20 hours a week, and for later ones for university studies is 30 hours a week. Those can vary. They are definitely eligible for the swap to a DMV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also heard people ask me if you can swap back from DMV if you're only a couple of years before your retirement, for example, if you can do 2 years on a DMV and then swap to an LLV. I think you can, because the other way around, it's much more difficult, because it would go from non-working to a working authorization, and the other way around to skip to eliminate the working authorization and just leave you with an authorization to reside in Spain. As long as you meet the requisites and you have the savings and stuff in place, then why not? But you would have to accredit that you're not working anymore. So sign a declaration or something that you abolish your DMV or whatever. But nothing has been published yet about all the modifications that are possible in relation to the DMV. It's just too green, too fresh for that. But I don't know why it wouldn't be.
There's going to be a lot of questions that could be asked that we just can't answer at the moment. So I think the main thing to get out of this part of the show is that we're going to have to do another show in the future once we've got more experience of people getting through.
And I feel very strongly about, and there's a couple of other professionals as well, they share basically everything what they learn from the UGE, from their investigations or their studies from the relevant laws, and I feel very strongly about that. I feel up till now, very few people actually sharing freely what they've done to get the visa, with the ones that have actually been approved. And I feel that they've done it through larger law firms, and they had like a non-disclosure agreement signed or anything. And I feel like there's so many people out there who want this. And of course, there are lots of advisors, but please, let's just share the information and make sure that all our clients just get it and don't fail for non-disclosure of information. So I share freely on my page, and I share information from others as well, and other people do the same.
Absolutely.
And I feel strongly about that. I hope that people will share their experiences like they have been doing with the driving license exchanges with regards to getting this visa as well, exactly what kind of documents were permitted and stuff like that. I must say that the UGE is really good at answering emails. I sometimes get an answer within 10 minutes. And sometimes even in English, if they suspect that I'm English. So they're doing their best. They really are. And they just say, I ask them, what kind of form do people use to get the Social Security certificate? And they say, we don't really know. We just know what we need to see. What's the end product? We don't really know how to get it.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
This is here's a good question from Ian Skinner.
Yeah.
This is a good general question about anything that you come into Spain on. If you did get a DNV and started living in Spain, when do you start paying Spanish tax? Basically, as soon as you register with the taxman, you're starting to pay tax, aren't you? As I know that's true as an autonomo. It's not like being on the non-lucrative visa where you can turn up in the second half of the year and then you're not paying tax until the following year.
It's different for working situations, basically. Because if you were in a regular situation working here in Spain, so not on this digital nomad visa, but regularly, your employer would take a little bit of the income tax that you owe the taxman every month from your wages. So basically you are paying every month as of the first wage slip you get. with autonomous, they pay into the system every month as of the day they register, and they're supposed to file tax returns every trimester at the end of every trimester, both for IVA and for income tax. But what we do not know is how people registered on the digital nomad have to meet their tax obligations, because Beckham law people only file their taxes once a year, and they have to apply for the Beckham law within 6 months after starting their work in Spain. So when if autonomous are going to be recognized as eligible for Beckham law, and they have been working here for 6 months without filing a regular tax, I don't know. We just don't know.
We just don't know.
I mean,
that's the theme for the show.
It's very complicated because it wouldn't have, well, yes, I've been talking to lots of people, lots of professionals, and we basically have come to the same conclusion, that this is very badly prepared from immigration side. I mean, it's not for nothing that the consulates are not taking any applications as yet, because they want to know exactly what's going to be asked of them and what they need to transfer or have to communicate with possible applicants. So, yes, no, the tax thing, we just don't know. Normally, like the people who are employed here, and their employer is still paying their NI contributions and stuff to the UK taxman, then they have the certificate, then they won't be eligible for tax here. But something should be in it for the Spanish taxman. So, but it will be a communication under the dual taxation agreement.
So
probably pay it here and get it back from the UK. But until the tax office has outlined exactly what they want from digital nomads, no tax advisor is going to tell you exactly how it's going to be, because it's all guesswork.
Jody has a question about national insurance contributions. If you're paying autonomo monthly in Spain, would you need to pay national insurance contributions in the UK? I think in my situation, I'm autonomo here. I can voluntarily pay national insurance contributions. I can top up my the number of years that I've got, and I can pay in a certain amount each year. There's actually a special deal on at the moment, which means you only pay £120 a year to fulfill the whole year's contribution. So you can elect to do that. I don't know if you would carry on normally, because this is all the same question that we were talking about, how the systems fit together when you're a digital nomad.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I mean, there's the obligation would be for Social Security in the country where you actually carry out the work. So that's Spain. If you do not have a Social Security coordination certificate that says that you're exempt in Spain, then you would need to contribute in Spain. But the contributions that you're going to make, like starting with €80 a month, are the same as every other regular autonomo, and you will start building up a pension entitlement from day one. So you should be able, with the UK at least, as there is this Social Security coordination agreement, to carry those over to your pension when you reach pension age. So, but then again, if you're very young, because the Spanish Social Security system has a rule that you need to have a minimum of total years contributions in all the years combined, and a minimum of years that you need to have contributed in the 15 years before your pension age. So it might be, if you're very young now and you pay into the system for 5 years, that afterwards, with those 5 years, if you still got, say, 20 years to go until you reach pension age, that they will be gone. That's something to investigate as well.
Go to a wealth management specialist who deals in pensions and national insurance. I think that might be a good idea. And I think we've already answered Ian's questions. Can I make UK national insurance contributions to ensure the state pension is not affected? That's what I'm doing at the moment. There is a number that you can call, which I don't have down below, but get in touch with a wealth management person who will be able to give you the office number of where you can call in the UK. You need to get your estimation of what your pensions are going to be first, and then you can apply to pay voluntary contributions. There you go.
Yeah, the same thing exists in Spain, by the way. So if you worked lots of years here, and you want to move abroad, and you want to make sure that, or you have a pension gap before because you moved companies or whatever, or you had a break before, and so you won't meet the total amount of years required for a full pension, then you can also do voluntary contributions. It's called a convenio.
Yeah.
There's convenios for just about everything. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I think I'm going to round up there. I did have a load of in-depth questions about the digital nomad visa, but having spoken to you about it now, all of the questions are going to have an answer of we don't know yet. So I think we'll plan a future program, and when we have some experience of exactly what's going on.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
But there we go.
Well, the thing is, I'm only going to put in my first one for an employed person from the UK next week. And then the one following that is from a couple of Serbs, people from Serbia, self-employed. So they're outside the social security thing. They're interested in back-home law, but if it's not happening, then it's not too big a deal. They're young people. So we're going for it. But the rest of them are all waiting. I've got loads of clients, all interested, all agreeing to a quote, but they're just waiting. And that's sensible, especially if you're having to sell your house to meet you're really going to make your life here. It's not like a digital, lots of people are not actually digital nomads. They really want to move to Spain, and this is their ticket. So their future is going to be in Spain. And if you're bringing your spouse, you're bringing children, then you have to be 100% sure of your rights and obligations under this visa.
Exactly, Ian. I think it's still very early, right? The DNV.
You're very right, Ian. Exactly. The only situations that I just described is the one that's 100% sure. And then even I give as much information as I can also about the insecurities I have, so that clients go into this with eyes open and fully informed for as far as it goes.
There you go. So if any of you have any more questions or comments, put them in the YouTube comments below here, and you'll get the answers and help that you need, especially if it's about the driving license. If it's about the digital nomad, then the answer might be, well, it depends. We don't quite know yet.
Depends.
So in a moment, I'll tell you what's on the show next week. But before that, let's say a massive thank you to Richelle and give her a big virtual hug for being so lovely and helpful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And if you need to speak to her on Facebook, ask Richelle Andalucia. You've had it on your screen all the way through, just over there. I can point to it now. And you can get in touch on Facebook. And she's lovely, and she will answer you. So
sure.
There you go. So thanks very much, Richelle. We'll see you again soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
There you go. Well, wasn't that lovely? Don't forget to click on the like button down here somewhere and subscribe, and click on that bell and set it to all if you haven't already, so you'll be the first to know what's coming up each week on the live shows and the midweek videos. Thank you to all of you who've been on the live chat, to Ian, Jody, Anthony and Kerry and Claudia. Oh, I've only just seen your name up there. Thank you as well. And to everybody else that's been on the live chat. Next Saturday, Chris from Upsticks is back. He's not been here for a while because he missed out 1 week, and that ended up being a whole 3 or 4 weeks without him. So he's back, and because he's had some time off, we've dropped him in, and he's got 3 weeks in a row. So that includes the Easter weekend. So we're going to make something special out of all of those 3 weeks. Watch this space to find out what that will be. You'll be informed on our Facebook group, and you can ask questions on the Facebook group as well, the Facebook community. It's the YouTooSpain community Facebook group. It's a private group. There's also the YouTooSpain Facebook page, which is a different thing, but you can ask questions on there. You can ask anything to do with visas and residency and importing and registering cars, anything else to do with moving to Spain and living here. Do that right now. And we'll see you next Saturday morning at our regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland, 10 o'clock if you're in Spain or Central Europe, and wherever you are, come and join us. And that is all for this week. Let's get onto the right page. Somebody pass around the digital nomad cookies, and peace and love to you all. And let's have one more cosmic little dance before we go. Here we go. Let's dance.